Hiragana is a Japanese syllabary, one basic component of the Japanese writing system, along with katakana, kanji, and in some cases rōmaji. Hiragana and katakana are both kana systems. They have corresponding character sets in which each kana, or character, represents one mora. Each kana is either a vowel such as a consonant followed by a vowel such as ka, or n, a nasal sonorant which, depending on the context, sounds either like English m, n, or ng, or like the nasal vowels of French. Because the characters of the kana do not represent single consonants, the kana are referred to as syllabaries and not alphabets. Hiragana is used to write native words for which there are no kanji, including grammatical particles such as aa per male kara from, and suffixes such as aa-san Mr., Mrs., Miss, Miss. Likewise, hiragana is used to write words whose kanji form is obscure, not known to the writer or readers, or too formal for the writing purpose. There is also some flexibility for words that have common kanji renditions to be optionally written instead in hiragana, according to an individual author's preference. Verb and adjective inflections, as, for example, bimashita and tabimashita, are written in hiragana, often following a verb or adjective root that is written in kanji. When hiragana is used to show the pronunciation of kanji characters as reading aid, it is referred to as furigana. The article Japanese Writing System discusses in detail how the various systems of writing are used. There are two main systems of ordering hiragana, the old-fashioned Irohan ordering, and the more prevalent Gajayan ordering. Writing system: the modern hiragana syllabary consists of 46 characters, 5 singular vowels, notionally, 45 consonant-to vowel unions, consisting of 9 consonants in combination with each of the 5 vowels, of which 3 are unused, 2 are obsoletes in modern Japanese, 1 is usually pronounced as a vowel in modern Japanese, and is preserved in only one use, as a particle. 1 singular consonant, these are conceived as a 5A10 grid, as illustrated in the adjacent table, with the extra character being the anomalous singular consonant A. Romanization of the kana does not always strictly follow the consonant-vowel scheme laid out in the table. For example, A, nominally T, is very often romanized as chi in an attempt to better represent the actual sound in Japanese. These basic characters can be modified in various ways. By adding a dakutan marker, a voiceless consonant is turned into a voiced consonant, ka g, tsrz, ta d, habi and ch shad j. Hiragana beginning with an h can also add a hand dakutan marker changing the h to ap. A small version of the hiragana for ya, you or yo may be added to hiragana ending in I. This changes the I vowel sound to a glide to a, u or o. Addition of the small y kana is called yan. For example, a plus a florin becomes a florin. A small to a pound, called a sokyun, indicates that the following consonant is geminated. For example, compare a saka hill with aac saka author. It also sometimes appears at the end of utterances, where it denotes a glottal stop, as in a pound. However, it cannot be used to double the na, ni, nu, ni, no syllables consonants are to double them, the singular n is added in front of the syllable. Hiragana usually spells long vowels with the addition of a second vowel kana. The ka wampa used in katakana is rarely used with hiragana, for example in the word a per mil a florin 1/4 aa, ramen, but this usage is considered non-standard. In informal writing, small versions of the 5-vowel kana are sometimes used to represent trailing off sounds. Standard and voiced iteration marks are written in hiragana as a and a respectively. Table of hiragana: the following table shows the complete hiragana together with the Hepburn romanization and IPA transcription in the Gajayan order. Hiragana with dakutan or hand dakutan follow the Gajayan kana without them, with the yan kana following. Obsolete and normally unused kana are shown in gray. For all syllables besides a, the pronunciation indicated is for word initial syllables, for mid-word pronunciation see below. In the middle of words, the G sound often turns into a velar nasal, angstrom and less often into the voiced velar fricative, e pound. An exception to this is numerals. 15 duo is considered to be one word, but is pronounced as if it was jar, and go stacked end to end, di angstrom eeo. Additionally, the J sound can be pronounced, e in the middle of words. For example, an unregistered trademark aazrg, sui number. In archaic forms of Japanese, there existed the quan and gua digraphs. In modern Japanese, these phonemes have been phased out of usage and only exist in the extended katakana digraphs for approximating foreign language words. The singular n is pronounced n before t, ch, ts, n, r, z, j and e, m before m, b and p, angstrom before k and g, e at the end of utterances, angstrom a before vowels, palatal approximants, consonants s, sh, h, f and w, and finally, a copyright after the vowel I of another vowel, palatal approximant or consonant s, sh, h, f or w follows. In kanji readings, the diphthongs u and er are today usually pronounced a and ea respectively. For example, a WAAA is pronounced Tokei squared A Tokyo, and AAAA sensei is CAC teacher. However, a W2 is pronounced tui to inquire, because the O and U are considered distinct, U being the infinitive verb ending. Similarly, AA Shaitira is pronounced Ia T 3/4 E is doing. For a more thorough discussion on the sounds of Japanese, please refer to Japanese phonology. Spelling rules, with a few exceptions for sentence particles a, and a few other arbitrary rules. Japanese, when written in kana, is phonemically orthographic, that is there is a one-to-one correspondence between kana characters and sounds, leaving only words pitch accent unrepresented. This has not always been the case. A previous system of spelling, now referred to as historical kana usage, differed substantially from pronunciation. The three above-mentioned exceptions in modern usage are the legacy of that system. The old spelling is referred to as kana-zukai. There are two hiragana pronounced ji and two hiragana pronounced zu, but to distinguish them, sometimes ascent is written as d and en is written as za. These pairs are not interchangeable. Usually, ji is written as a and zu is written as a sh. There are some exceptions. If the first two syllables of a word consist of one syllable without a dakutan and the same syllable with a dakutan, the same hiragana is used to write the sounds. For example, Shijimaru is spelled ama and Tsuzuku is a gamma. For compound words where the dakutan reflects rin-daku voicing, the original hiragana is used. For example, chi is spelled a in plain hiragana. When E1/4 hana and E chi combine to make hanaji E1/4 E nosebleed, the sound of E changes from chi to g. So hanaji is spelled a cent according to the basic hiragana used to transcribe a euro. Similarly, tsuko is spelled a in hiragana, so kana-zukai is spelled a gamma in hiragana. However, this does not apply when kanji are used phonetically to write words which do not relate directly to the meaning of the kanji. The Japanese word for lightning, for example, is inazuma. The C component means rice plant, is written a in hiragana and is pronounced ina. The A component means wife and is pronounced zuma when written in isolation a euro, or frequently as zuma when it features after another syllable. Neither of these components have anything to do with lightning, but together they do when they compose the word for lightning. In this case, the default spelling in hiragana a sha 3/4 rather than a gamma 3/4 is used. Officially, accent and en do not occur word initially pursuant to modern spelling rules. There were words such as am degree ajibe and ground in the historical kana usage, but they were unified under it in the modern kana usage in 1946. So today it is spelled exclusively a degree a. However, a gamma permel zurawig and a gamma zook are examples of word initial yen today. Some people write the word for hemorrhoids as accent for emphasis. No standard Japanese words begin with the kana a. This is the basis of the word game shiratori. An is normally treated as its own syllable and is separate from the other n-based kana. A notable exception to this is the colloquial negative verb conjugation. For example, aaa permilawakaran meaning, I don't understand is rendered as aaa permilawakaran. It is however not a contraction of the former, but instead comes from the classic negative verb conjugation anu. A is sometimes directly followed by a vowel or a palatal approximant. These are clearly distinct from the na, ni etc. syllables, and there are minimal pairs such as aaa kinan smoking forbidden, aa kinan commemoration, aaa kinan recent years. In Hepburn romanization, they are distinguished with an apostrophe, but not all romanization methods make the distinction. For example, past Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi's first name is actually Aaaa Junichiro pronounced, Angstrom 80 degrees Celsius A 3/4 A. There are a few hiragana which are rarely used. Awi and awi are obsolete outside of Okinawan dialects. Avu is a modern addition used to represent the sound in foreign languages such as English, but since Japanese from a phonological standpoint does not have a sound, it is pronounced as and mostly serves as a more accurate indicator of a word's pronunciation in its original language. However, it is rarely seen because loan words and transliterated words are usually written in katakana, where the corresponding character would be written as a florin. An am florin, an am for jeijo are theoretically possible in Rindaku, but are practically never used. For example, z to a throughout Japan could be written aama, but is practically always aaaa. The aa is extremely rare in originally Japanese words. Linguist Hirohiko Kindachi raises the example of the Japanese family name Omamyada and claims it is the only occurrence amongst pure Japanese words. Its katakana counterpart is used in many loanwords, however. History. Hiragana developed from Manyagana, Chinese characters used for their pronunciations, a practice which started in the 5th century. The oldest example of Manyagana is Inariyama sword, which is an iron sword excavated at the Inariyama Kafun in 1968. This sword is thought to be made in year of E 3/4 epsilon to the first. The forms of the hiragana originate from the cursive script style of Chinese calligraphy. The figure below shows the derivation of hiragana from Manyagana via cursive script. The upper part shows the character in the regular script form, the center character in red showed the cursive script form of the character, and the bottom shows the equivalent hiragana. Note also that the cursive script forms are not strictly confined to those in the illustration. When they were first developed, hiragana were not accepted by everyone. The educated or elites preferred to use only the kanji system. Historically, in Japan, the regular script form of the characters was used by men and called otokode, men's writing, while the cursive script form of the kanji was used by women. Hence hiragana first gained popularity among women, who were generally not allowed access to the same levels of education as men. And thus hiragana was first widely used among court women in the writing of personal communications and literature. From this comes the alternative name of one-aid women's writing. For example, The Tale of Genji and other early novels by female authors used hiragana extensively or exclusively. Male authors came to write literature using hiragana. Hiragana was used for unofficial writing such as personal letters, while katakana and Chinese were used for official documents. In modern times, the usage of hiragana has become mixed with katakana writing. Katakana is now relegated to special uses such as recently borrowed words, names in transliteration, the names of animals, in telegrams, and for emphasis. Originally, for all syllables there was more than one possible hiragana. In 1900, the system was simplified so each syllable had only one hiragana. The deprecated hiragana are now known as hintagana. The Pangram poem Iroayuta, which dates to the 10th century, uses every hiragana once. Stroke order and direction. The following table shows the method for writing each hiragana character. It is arranged in the traditional way, beginning top right and reading columns down. The numbers and arrows indicate the stroke order and direction respectively. Unicode. Hiragana was added to the Unicode standard in October 1991 with the release of version 1.0. The Unicode block for hiragana is U+3040. U+309F. Gray areas indicate non-assigned code points. The Unicode hiragana block contains pre-composed characters for all hiragana in the modern set, including small vowels and ya on kana for compound syllables, plus the archaic awi and the rare vu. The archaic th yi is included in plain 1 at U+1B001. All combinations of hiragana with dakutan and handakutan used in modern Japanese are available as pre-composed characters, and can also be produced by using a base hiragana followed by the combining dakutan and handakutan characters. This method is used to add the diacritics to kana that are not normally used with them, for example applying the dakutan to a pure vowel or the handakutan to a kana not in the H group. Characters U+3095 and U+3096 are small a and small a, respectively. U+309F is a ligature of a esh occasionally used in vertical text. U+309B and U+309C are spacing equivalents to the combining dakutan and handakutan characters, respectively. Historic and variant forms of Japanese kana characters were added to the Unicode standard in October 2010 with the release of version 6.0. The Unicode block for kana supplement is U+1B000. U+1B0FF. Gray areas indicate non-assigned code points. See also, Butpomofo, a phonetic system of 37 characters for writing Chinese developed in the 1900s and common in Taiwan. Iteration mark explains the iteration marks used with hiragana. Japanese phonology explains Japanese pronunciation in detail. Japanese typographic symbols gives other non-kana, non-kanji symbols. Katakana, now 1/4 shu, a syllabary writing system used by women in China's Hunan province, Shodo, Japanese calligraphy. References. External links, Hiragana learning exercises, Hiragana Unicode chart.